वाय श्रीशुक उवाच इति भागवता पृष्टा क्षेत्रावार्तां प्रियाश्रयां प्रतिवक्तुं न चोत्सेह उत्खायात् स्मारितेश्वरः।
Sukha Goswami said, when the great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidura to speak on the messages of the dearest Lord Krishna, Uddhava was unable to answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at the remembrance of the Lords.
Text 2. यः पाञ्चहायनो मात्रा भ्रातराशाय चाति याचितः तन्नैच्छद्रचयन् यस्य सपर्यां बाललीलया।
Yashwini Mataji, are you ready to read the English?
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. He was one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years, was so absorbed in the service of Lord Krishna that when he was called by his mother for morning breakfast, he did not wish to have it.
Text 3. सकथं सेवया तस्य कालेन जरसङ्गतः पृष्टो वार्तां प्रति ब्रूयात् भर्तुपादावनुस्मरन्।
Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood, and in his old age that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him.
Text 4. समुहूर्तमभूतुष्णें कृष्णाग्रे सुधया भृशां तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन निमग्ना साधु निर्व्रतः।
For a moment he remained dead silent, and his body did not move. He became absorbed in the nectar of remembering the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy, and he appeared to be going increasingly deeper into that ecstasy.
Text 5. पुलको भिन्न सर्वांगो मुञ्चन्मिलदृशा शुचः पूर्णार्थो लक्षितस्तेन स्नेहप्रसरसम्प्लुतः।
It was so absorbed by Vidura that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus Vidura could understand that Uddhava had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord.
Text 6. शनकैर्भगवल्लोकान् नृलोकं पुनरागतः विमृज्य विदुरं प्रीत्याहोधव उत्स्मयन्।
The great devotee Uddhava soon came back from the abode of the Lord to the human plane, and wiping his eyes, he awakened his reminiscences of the past and spoke to Vidura in a pleasing mood.
Text 7. उद्धव उवाच कृष्णाद्युमने निम्लोचे गिर्नेष्व अजगरेणः किं नु नाकुशलं ब्रूयां गतश्रीषु गृहेष्वहम्।
Sri Uddhava said, "My dear Vidur, the son of the world, Lord Krishna has sat, and our house has now been swallowed by the great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare?"
Text 8. दुर्भगो बतलोकोऽयं यदवो नितरामपि ये संवसन्तो न विदुर्हरिं मीना इवोदुपम्।
This universe with all its planets is most unfortunate, and even more unfortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty because they could not identify Lord Hari as the personality of Godhead any more than the fish could identify the moon.
Next 9. इंगिताग्ना पुरुप्रोढा एकारामश्च सात्वतः सात्वतां ऋषभां सर्वे भूता वाशम् अमं सत.
The Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations, and still they were only able to know him as the one supreme who dwells everywhere.
Next 10. देवस्य मायया स्पृष्टा ये चान्याद् असदाश्रितः भ्राम्यते धीर्न तद्वाक्ये आत्मन्याप्युत्तत् मनोहरो.
Under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by the illusionary energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls.
Text 11. प्रदर्श्याताप्ततपसाम् अवितृप्ततृषां नृणाम् आदायान्तारहाद्यस्तु स्वबिम्बं लोकलोचनम्.
Hare Krishna, Yashwini Mataji, Shyam Prabhu has just joined. Thank
Would
you.
like to continue, Shyam Prabhu, in English? Shyam Prabhu, are you there? Shyam Prabhu, are you there?
He just spoke with me, so his name is in the list now. Otherwise, carry on, Mataji, please. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Lord Shri Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who are unable to see him as he is due to not executing required penance.
Text 12. यन्मार्गलीलोपयिकं स्वयोग मायाबलं दर्शयता गृहीतां विस्मापनां स्वस्य च सौभगर्दे परं पदं भूषणभूषणाङ्गम्.
The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yogmaya. He came in this eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus his Shri Krishna's transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments.
Text 13. यद्धर्मसूनोर्बतराजसूये निरीक्ष्य दृक्स्वास्थ्ययनां त्रिलोकः कार्ष्ण्येन चाद्येह गतं विधातुर्वाक्श्रुतो कौशलमिति अमन्यता.
All the demigods from the upper, lower, and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of the Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings.
Text 14. यस्यानुरागा प्लुतहासरास लीलावलोक प्रतिलाप्तमानः व्रजस्त्रियोदृग्भिरनुप्रावृता धियोवतस्तु किल कृच्छ्रशेषः.
The damsels of Raj, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with a stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties.
Text 15. स्वशान्तरूपे श्वेतरे स्वरूपे अभ्याद्यमानेष्व अनुकम्पितात्मा परावरेशो महदंशयुक्तो हीयाजोद्बीजातु भगवान् यथाग्नि.
The personality of Godhead, an all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn. But when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the Mahat Tattva.
Text 16. Mam खेद्यतेतद् अजस्य जन्म विदम्बनं यद् वसुदेवगेहे व्रजे च वासोरिभयादिवा स्वयं पुराव्यवत् व्यवात्सेत् यदनन्तवीर्यः.
When I think of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudev, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Braj and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear. All these bewildering incidents give me distress.
Text 17. Dunoti cheta स्मरतो ममैतान् यदाह पादा अभिवन्द्य पितृः ताताम्बकं सात् पुरुषङ्कितानां प्रसीदतं नो कृतनिष्कृतीनाम्.
Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their, Krishna and Balram's, inability to serve their feet due to being away from home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, "O mother, O father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at heart."
Text 18. को वा अमुष्याङ्घ्रिसरोजरेणु विस्मर्तुमीशितपुमान् विजिघ्रान् यो विस्फुरद्भ्रुवितपेन भूमे भारं कृतान्तेन तिराश्चकार.
Who, after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, could ever forget it? Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows. Krishna has given the death blow to those who were burdening the earth.
Text 19. दृष्टा भवाब्धेर्ननुराजसूये चैद्यस्य कृष्णं द्विसतोऽपि सिद्धिः यां योगिनः स्पृशयन्ति सम्यक् योगेन कस्तद् विरहं सहिता.
You have personally seen how the king of Chedi, Shishupal, achieved success in yoga practice, although he hated Lord Krishna. Even the actual yogis aspire for such success with great interest by performance of their various practices. Who can tolerate separation from him?
Text 20. तथैव चान्ये नरलोकवीरा याहावे कृष्णमुखारविन्दं नेत्रे पिबन्तो नयनाभिरामं पार्थास्त्रपूतः पदमापुरस्य.
Certainly others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjun's arrows, and while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you and sorry for any mistakes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sumudra Radhika Mataji and Yashwini Mataji. Very beautiful recitations. Thank you so much. Very auspicious, so beautiful. Okay, so we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, second chapter, And thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly joining this evening for Srimad Bhagavatam and giving me this opportunity to speak a few words. Okay, so yeah, I shall share my screen. Okay, so we are in the second chapter of third canto. This is the remembrance of Lord Krishna. So in the first canto, so Vidura, in his pilgrimage travel, he has met Uddhava at the banks of Yamuna River, and then he was asking about Krishna and Krishna's family and each and every member. So later on, Uddhava remembering those words, and so he is going to respond to Vidura's questions. So we are in the second chapter now. Okay, before we start, we shall offer our obeisances to our Acharyas and Gurus and Krishna. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणसिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृणुतां स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्तो ह्य भद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृसताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। एते चांशकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्रारिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे। इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकधन्यं स्वस्ते नमः। कृष्णे सुरामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह खलु न शुश्रामेष पुराणर्को अधुनोदितः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये। अथ विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशम् इमं चिन्निदुरं पाण्डुषु विष्णुषु त्वयमेनन्य विषया मतिर्मदपते सकृत् रतिमुद्वाह तदद्धा गङ्गवभूदन्वति श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सखा विष्णु वृषभावनिधराजन्यवंशधानानपवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरात्यहरावतार योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गीसङ्गस्य मच्चेनं किमुत शशः पुनश्च भूयात् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गश तदाश्रयेषु महस्तु यां यामुपयामि सृष्टिं मैत्रस्य सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः हरे कृष्ण Okay, so thank you so much. Okay, so remembrance of Lord Krishna. So this chapter, it is a very beautiful chapter. So here Uddhava, he remembers past times with Krishna, the time he has spent with Krishna, everything. So this is what always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So this particular statement and this particular chapter, so both align together. And Krishna's Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mam Yevaisisi Yuktaivam Atmanam Matparayanaha. So this is Bhagavad Gita 9:34. So Lord always asks us to remember. So here Uddhava, after accompanying Krishna for so many years throughout his life, since childhood, since he was childhood, he used to play those with Krishna's toys, and then likewise he is always engaging, imitating Krishna's pastimes. So that is very easy to remember throughout the life. So this is that beautiful chapter, remembrance of Lord Krishna. How this is, and also tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam manusmara idhyacha mayarpita manobuddhir mam evaishasi asamsayah. So that is also Krishna mentions. All the time one has to remember. So this chapter is remembrance of Lord Krishna. So once the devotee come in contact with Krishna consciousness, and since that time the journey goes until end of the life. And then at the end of the life, what Krishna mentions again, Antakale mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samsayah. So one has to remember Krishna at the end of life. Then we will go to Krishna's lotus feet, to Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna's abode. So, and here this chapter, it gives example for us in day-to-day life, how we have to remember engaging in Krishna's devotional service. So here Uddhava is remembering Lord Krishna. Similarly, in the first canto itself, there are Vyasadeva, Suta Goswami, and then Sukadeva Goswami in the second canto, the beginning, and later on, apart from that, Bhishma Dev and Arjuna, and then Kunti Devi, their prayers, how they have been absorbed in the devotional service. And also in similar to Uddhava here, once Krishna and all the Yadu family, they have disappeared from here, from the earth. At the time, Arjuna went to Dwaraka to see what everyone is doing and what are the next plans of Krishna. So, and he stayed with the plan that he wanted to stay there for a couple of months. And then by the time Yudhishthira was seeing so many omens, bad omens in the Hastinapura. And then at the time, Arjuna returns back, bringing the news that Yadu family is now no more. At the time, Yudhishthira was asking Arjuna, why Arjuna you are like that? And then at the time, Arjuna again, he could not remember, he could not respond immediately. And then slowly composing himself, keeping tears in his eyes and remembering Krishna's pastimes. There, once again, all the pastimes of Krishna, how Krishna has been accompanying Pandavas in each and every moment and bringing different pastimes in a summarize, and then he speak to Yudhishthira. There Arjuna remembers Vasudevangri Anujjana Paribramhita Rambhasa. Once we remember Krishna, Vasudevangri Anujjana Paribramhita Rambhasa, then Bhakta Nirmatita Ashesha Kashaya Dishanojjunaha. So by remembering Krishna's lotus feet, Bhakta Nirmatita Kashaya Dishanojjunaha, and all the impurities from the heart of Arjuna was completely removed. Evam Chintayato Jishnoho. So that is, Arjuna was remembering Krishna in that particular mode, and remembering Krishna's instructions, he is completely purified. Like here, like Arjuna, now it comes to the Uddhava. Uddhava is the elevated devotee. So we are starting here, and see here the conversation between Uddhava and Vidura. So Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So second chapter, Remembrance of Krishna. So we shall recite the verse and then go through the translation and purport. Shri Sukuvacha iti bhagavataha prustaha kshatravartam priyashrayam prativaktrum nacha utseha outkancha smariteshvaraha iti bhagavataha prustaha. Iti bhagavataha prustaha. So in such a way, Uddhava was questioned by Kshatravartam Priyashrayam. Kshatra, this is the Vidura. Kshatra Vartam Priyashrayam. He wanted to know the Priyashrayam. So Vartam, the message of Priyashrayam. At the time, Prativaktum Nacha Utseha. Uddhava, in order to respond to Vidura, Prativaktum, to reply, Nacha Utseha, he is not eager to respond immediately. He is not responding immediately. So just he was now absorbed. Autkantya Smariteshvaraha, because of excessive anxiety. Because of excessive anxiety. Smariteshvara, Smarita Ishvaraha. So by remembering the Lord Krishna. So iti bhagavataha prushtaha kshatravartam priyashrayam prativaktrum nacha utseha outkancha smariteshvaraha. So because he is remembering Smariteshvaraha, so at the time Outkantya is very, very beautiful word. It comes in so many different circumstances. If we unexpected and udvega, like number of times, especially it is used whenever we are seeing Krishna and who are crying for Krishna. At that time we use outkantyat, by excessive anxiety. At that time Uddhava was not able to reply immediately due to the anxiety. Prativaktum nacha utseha. Okay, so this is iti bhagavataha prushtaha kshatravartam priyashrayam prativaktum nacha utseha outkancha smariteshvaraha. Shri Sukadeva, translation for this. Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, when the great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidura to speak on the messages of the dearest Lord Krishna, Uddhava was unable to answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at the remembrance of the Lord. At the remembrance of the Lord. So when we remember Jayataha Charanam Bhojam Bhavanijjita Chetasa Aukancha Asura Kalakshasya Pridi Asin Me Senir Harihi Jayataha Charanam Bhojam Bhavanijjita Chetasa. So this verse is about Narada Muni in the previous life when he was a son of a maid servant. When he was going through the forests after his mother was died, and then so now he received that Bhagavatam, the from the Vedantis, he received the knowledge of transcendent knowledge Sakshat Bhagavatoditam, whatever the Vedantists received from those Vedantists, they're actually the 4 Kumaras. It is mentioned in a different Purana. But here in the Bhagavatam, they are the Vedantists. So he has received that knowledge from the Vedantists, and when he was going by remembering that knowledge and trying to meditate on the Lord, at the time, this is Jayatah Charanambhojam Bhavanijhita Chetasa, completely purified from the material existence. At the time, Outkantya Asura Kalakshasya, Outkantya by excessive anxiety, and Asura Kalakshasya, he has keeping tears in his eyes. As soon as who is deeply absorbed in Krishna's consciousness, we would see those kind of symptoms. But only dearest friends only can see such kind of symptoms, not everyone. Hridiyase me Sarir Harihi. And the Lord, he revealed himself in the heart of Hridiyase me Sarir Harihi gradually to that devotee. So here, Buddhava is like remembering the Lord. Outkantya Smariteshwaraha. We see all the devotees' symptoms in the similar way. Arjuna, and here Buddhava, Narada Muni, and we would see so many other devotees later on. So likewise, there is no purport for this one. So, इति भागवतः पृष्ठः क्षत्रावार्तं प्रियाश्रयं प्रतिवक्तुं न च उत्सेह औत्कञ्चात् स्मारितेश्वरः. Okay, we shall move to the next verse. And so here, Sukadeva Goswami is further saying about the Uddhava here. Why he is like that, why he was Pratibhaktam na Uchcheha Outkanchat Smariteshwara. By remembering Krishna, why he could not immediately answer. So here Sukadeva Goswami says, Yah Panchahayano Matra Pratarashaya Yakitaha Tannai Ichad Rachayan Yasya Sapadyam Balalayam. Yah Panchahayano Matra. So when Buddha was 5 years old, yes, Panchahayano Matra by his mother. So at that time, Pratar Ashaya Yachitaham. So when his mother was calling him for breakfast, Prat Ashaya Yachitaha, when he was called, at that time Buddha was Tan Naichad Rachayan Yasya Saparyam Balalelaya. So at the time he did not like to go there, and because Tan Naichad he is not liking, because Rachayan Yasya, and he was playing Yasya Saparyam Balalelaya unto the Krishna service in a childhood playtimes. Whenever mother is calling for, oh mother, I'm just playing here, I'm serving Krishna, I'm playing with Krishna, I'm offering food to Krishna. In a small ties, the children would respond like that, very cutely. That is, here Buddha was 5 years old at the time. So he was engaged in this is Bala Lelaya, childhood times. Saparyam, he is engaging in the devotional service in the childhood, 5 years old. At that time, he used to say to his mother, when mother is calling for breakfast, he doesn't like to go immediately. Tanna ichad rachayan yasya saparyam balalelaya. Very beautiful. So this is panchahayano matra pratarashaya yachitaha tanna ichad rachayan yasya saparyam balalelaya. So translation for this verse. He was one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years, was so absorbed in the service of Lord Krishna that when he was called by his mother for morning breakfast, he did not wish to have it. He did not wish to have it. And purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So from his very birth, Uddhava was a natural devotee of Lord Krishna, or Nitya Siddha, a liberated soul. From natural instinct, he used to serve Lord Krishna. Even in his childhood, he used to play with dolls in the form of Krishna. He would serve the dolls by dressing, feeding, and worshipping them. and thus he was constantly absorbed in the play of transcendental realization. These are the signs of an eternally liberated soul. An eternally liberated soul is a devotee of the Lord who never forgets him. Human life is meant for reviving one's eternal relation with the Lord, and all the religious injunctions are meant for awakening this dormant instinct of the living entity. The sooner this awakening is brought about, the quicker the mission of human life is fulfilled. In a good family of devotees, the child gets the opportunity to serve the Lord in many ways. A soul who is already advanced in the devotional service has the opportunity to take birth in such an enlightened family. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita 6.41. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrastobhijayate. Even the fallen devotee gets the opportunity to take his birth in the family of a well-situated Brahmana or in a rich, well-to-do mercantile family. In both these families, there is a good opportunity to uh, revive one's sense of God consciousness automatically, because particularly in these families, the worship of Lord Krishna is regularly performed, and the child gets the opportunity to imitate the process of worship called archana. Worship called archana. So the Pancharatrika formula for training persons in devotional service is temple worship, whereby the neophytes get the opportunity to learn devotional service to the Lord. Maharaja Parikshit also used to play with Krishna dolls in his childhood. In India, the children in good families are still given dolls of the Lord like Rama and Krishna, or sometimes the demigods, so that they may develop the aptitude of service to the Lord. By the grace of the Lord, we were given the same opportunity by our parents, and the beginning of our life was based on this principle. Chila Prabhupada ki jai. So here Prabhupada is giving good explanations about the childhood pastimes of Uddhava or Parikshit also. They were given the uh, dolls, Krishna's dolls. He used to play with dolls in the form of Krishna. He would serve the dolls by dressing, feeding, and worshipping. If we see the children giving small deities and then dresses, they're always busy in doing the dressing and doing the hair and feeding him. And also we see even the devotees, they give food and trying to feed the Krishna deity with hand and preparing all the food. That is, one has to observe in such a way. So here Prabhupada is saying that is required. Child has to be trained since the beginning of his life. And so that is what Lord also mentions. It is not possible for everyone, uh, I mean, to go to the forest and meditate. So that's why in this age of Kali, we have to go to the temple and see the deities, touch the deities, and then worship. Madhyashna, Darshana, Sparsha, Puja, Stuti, Apivandanaihi, Bhuteshu Madbhavanaya, Satvena, Asangamena cha. And that is the way it is easy process, devotional service. Having the deities, it is Archa Vigraha for us. Lord is given an opportunity to serve him. That is recommended. So, and also here, further Prabhupada explains, there are the signs of an eternally liberated soul. An eternally liberated soul is a devotee of the Lord who never forgets him. He is always remembering Krishna. Either he is in the sleeping or in the Jagruti, Swapna, Shushuptishu, in all the three stages. So the devotee always remembers and absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Human life is meant for reviving one's eternal relation with the Lord. And all religious injunctions are meant for awakening this dormant instinct of the living entity. So this is मुक्ताश्रम्यैः निर्विशं विविक्तं निर्वाणमृच्छति मनः सहसा यथार्चिः आत्मानमत्र पुरुषो व्यवधानमेकम् अन्वीक्ष्यते Vyavadhanam, it is mentioned that a yogi, once he is meditating, once he is completely freed from the material entanglement, Muktashrimirhi nirvishim viviktam nirvanam ruchiti manaha sahasa yatachihi. Nirvanam ruchiti manaha, in the mind, nirvanam ruchiti, he is completely separated himself from the material entanglement. Sahasa yatarchihi is now complete purified soul, archihi. Sahasa yatarchihi. So likewise, he is continuously a yogi in contact with the Lord. Continuously he is in contact with the Lord. So in the beginning, when we are engaging ourselves in devotional service or in the meditation dhyana also, Stitam Brajantamasinam Sayanam Va Guhasayam Prekshane Ihitam Jayat Shuddha Bhavena Chetasa. A yogi, when he is in meditation, Stitam Brajantam Asinam, he sees sometimes Lord is sitting, Stitam Brajantam Asinam, Sayanam Va, sometimes sleeping, Sayanam, likewise, in different postures, Lord is performing, Lord is sitting on the Ananta Shesha, Lakshmi Devi is massaging his legs. Likewise, devotee completely Shuddha Bhavena Chetasa. He is absorbed in that way. So Lord is doing that. And when we have got deities, Lord is now sleeping on the small bed, and we have fed now his tummy is full. Let Lord take some rest. That way, we give children teach. When we are doing, children are also automatically learning those skills. So here, the Prabhupada mentions the sooner this is awakening is brought about, quicker the mission of human life is fulfilled. Then we don't entangle in the material activities. Otherwise, if we are just going until 65 years and then retirement, by the time the mind is polluted with so many things, it is very difficult to mold the mind to absorb in Krishna consciousness. So sometimes I see some of the people are forcibly retiring from their positions in some companies, organizations, though they do not want. But at the time, they are now put up into the chaos situations. Their mind is still they wanted to work, but they're forced to retire. And they don't know what to do after retirement. Going to here restaurants, pubs, and that's all they engage there. The mind is always in the pollution, just thinking of the work, material work, that they cannot mold themselves into the spiritual path. So that's why it is required from the childhood life. So in a good family of devotees, the child gets this opportunity to serve the Lord in many ways. A soul who is already advanced in devotional service has the opportunity to take birth in such an enlightened family. We see some of the children in Krishna consciousness since childhood. Wherever they go, they're chanting and doing speaking on Krishna Katha, Bhagavatam, and as soon as the children sees the devotees, they are very so much happy. They go and join them and dance. We see so many children. One of the devotees, the child Bhagavat, he is now we see so many of his videos, and so they are rotating in the YouTube. We might see. So that is the here Prabhupada mentions here. Such a great souls, they have got an opportunity to take birth in the such enlightened family. That is, Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Abhijayate. If he has not achieved in his previous life, he will take the birth in the good devotees family. In a well situated Brahmana or rich family, they will have got more opportunities to render service unto the Lord Krishna. So this worship is called Archana. Vachana is one of the Navaveda Bhakti. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhimatmani Vedanam. This Archana is the one of it. And then later on Prabhupada is explaining about the Pancharatriki formula for training persons in devotional service is a temple worship. So temple worship is required until one is completely well situated in Krishna consciousness. After that, if he wanted to do it, still he can engage. Otherwise, it is not mandatory for him to stick onto the temple because he is completely purified. Wherever he goes, he make that place as a pilgrimage. He make that place as a pilgrimage. So he doesn't have to that Kapil Bhagavan says in the third canto, 29th chapter. So once he is engaging in this devotional service, until he is completely absorbed, he achieved that state, then he doesn't have to stick to the temple only. He can go, he can become a Parirajaka Acharya. So likewise, Bhagavan says, and whereby it is an opportunity for the neophytes to get to learn about devotional service to the Lord. And Prabhupada is also giving the Maharaja Parikshit. We all see he is born in the family of Pandavas. There Maharaja Parikshit also mentions that I got a very good, I'm very fortunate person being, Lord has accepted me to be part of his devotees family. That way though some of the Brahmanas were giving the horoscope to Maharaj Parikshit, they say this child is comparable to all great personalities at that time. But Parikshit was not feeling himself like that. He's still seeking the mercy of the Lord. Lord kindly allowed him to take a birth in the family of the Pandavas, devotees family. And in the devotees family, Maharaja Parikshit has got opportunity to play with the dolls of Lord Krishna and Rama like that. So likewise, Prabhupada is explaining here. And here, by the grace of the Lord, we were given the same opportunity by our parents, and the beginning of our life was based on this principle. This is about Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada was in his childhood, he received the deities from his father, Gaur Mohan De. And similarly, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami as well. So this is what Prabhupada is mentioning. By the grace of the Lord, we were given the same opportunity by our parents and Prabhupada and all his siblings. So that is how, from the beginning of children's life, it is based on the Krishna consciousness principle. Okay, so that is from this verse. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is giving why Uddhava was like that. Not able to pratibhaktum na cha utseha aukanchat smariteshwaraham, because panchahayano matra pratarasha yachitaha tannai ichad rachayan yasya saparyam balalelaya. So and then further Sukadeva Goswami further mentioning about the position of Uddhava. So, and by doing such kind of Bala Lelaya, what happened to him? So, Sakatam Sevaya Tasya Kadena Jarasam Gataha Prushtavartam Pratibhruyat Bhattu Padu Anusmaran. So, Sakatam Sevaya Tasya, because Uddhava, by doing such service, Kalena Jarasam Gataha, and in the similar way, he is continuously doing by the time the old age has come to him. And Prushtavartam Pratibhruyat. So whenever Prushtavartam Pratibhruyat, whenever Vidura asked at the time, Pratibhruyat, just to reply to about the message of all the Krishnas and Edo dynasty, then Bhattuhu Padu Anusmaran, and Uddhava immediately remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. Bhattuhu Padu Anusmaran, Bhattuhu of the Lord, Padu his lotus feet, Anusmaran, remembering again and again. This is Sakatam Sevaya Tasya Kalena Jarasam Gataha Prushtavartam Pratibhruyat Bhattuhu Padu Anusmaran. Once we engage in the service, then we remember only the Lord. Here, though it is old age, that is so mature. So here, this is Uddhava in his life. Approximately, Krishna was here 125 years, and Uddhava is almost Krishna's time period. And once Krishna departed, here Jarasam. So Uddhava is Kalena Jarasam Gataha. He became older. But he was remembering for few years. We would say approximately 125 years in a similar age. But if we think of in the previous ages, for example, Swayambhumanu, Saevam Swantram Ninya Yuganam Ekasaptitim, Vasudeva Prasangena Paribhuta Gatitrayaha. So here Swayambhu Manu 71 yoga cycles. What happened? Vasudeva Prasangena Paribhuta Gatitrayah. By remembering and speaking Kuroto Bhutoho Kataha. So he is remembering and writing the scriptures and also hearing about the Lord and speaking about the Lord. Likewise, Sayam Swantaraninya Yuganam Ekasaptitim. 71 yoga cycles. Each yoga cycle is of 4.3 million years cross 71. So that many of years, Vasudeva Prasangena Paribhuta Gatitrayaha, that many yoga life cycles have passed very easily, just like in a moment of time. Here, Uddhava is remembering all Krishna's pastimes. Kalena Jarasam Gataha. So now he is in the old age. Now, when Vidura was asking questions, Prushtavartam Pratibhuyad. Just to reply, he is remembering about the Lord. Bhattuhu Padu Anusmaran. So, translation for this verse. Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood, and in his old age, that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. He at once remembered all about him. So purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened. Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. In the transcendental service, there is no satiation, and therefore there is no retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired by rendering service in his physical body, he is allowed retirement. But in the transcendental service, there is no feeling of fatigue because it is spiritual service and is not on the bodily plane. Service on the bodily plane dwindles as the body grows older, but the spirit is never old. And therefore, on the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome. Very beautiful. And Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane, and therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidura about Lord Krishna, he at once remembered his Lord by reference to the context and forgot himself on the physical plane. That is the sign of pure devotional service to the Lord, as will be explained later on. Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunam Hi Udahrutam. Ahaitutya Apratihata Bhakti Purushottami. So that Lord Kapila's instructions to his mother Devhuti. So here Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this purport, Prabhupada is mentioning about the retirement. In the retirement, once we work, our education, our working in the offices, everything is mundane. It is only to maintain the body. Maintaining the body for what purpose? Sense gratification. Because of that, after retirement, immediately they will get frustrated. What to do? They wanted to go to this park, that restaurant, that pub, and then meet with family, friends. But no one likes it. Wherever he goes, he would face, because at the old age, no one give much respect if he is a mundane person. If he is a devotee, everyone wanted to hear from him about the spiritual realizations. So, and here on the physical plane, his body dwindles. His body dwindles and his memory, he might have done some programs, some technology, some work with that company, this organization. They do not help him anymore. But if he remembers something, oh, I did meet such people and everything, there is all kinds of faults within those relationships everywhere in the mundane relationships. But in the spiritual, the devotees always we remember devotees, what devotees speak, and how they have engaged themselves in the devotional service to the Lord. So it is on the spiritual plane. So that is Prabhupada is explaining here about the material body and the spiritual body. The spirit is never old, and therefore on the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome. We practically experience that when we are engaging ourselves, speaking hours and hours, and engaging ourselves in the singing, glorifying the Lord's pastimes, and doing Hare Krishna, Mahamantra Kirtan, we never get tired. It is our practical experience. And here, further Prabhupada is mentioning, Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane. Therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidura about Lord Krishna, at once he remembered his Lord by reference to the context and forgot himself in the physical plane. So that is Prabhupada is explaining. And sign of pure devotional service is Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhasaye. So Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhasaye. Manogati Ravichinna Yata Ganga Ambaso Ambhudau. Just as soon as one hears the qualities of the Supreme Lord, Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhasaye. Manogati Ravichinna Yata Ganga Ambaso Ambhudau. Without deviating our mind, he always absorbed in the Krishna consciousness, just like the Ganges river flowing to the ocean without any obstacles. Even if obstacles come, it will change the direction and it will go to the destination. Likewise, devotee, as soon as he hear Manogati Ravichinna Yata Ganga Ambasu Ambudau, just like Ganga is going to the ocean, likewise he is coming to the Krishna's lotus feet. धौतात्मा पुरुषः कृष्णपादमूलं न मुञ्चति मुक्तस्वरूपरिक्लेशः पान्तः स्वशरणं यथा. Once he comes to the lotus feet of Krishna, he will never ever leave. धौतात्मा पुरुषः कृष्णपादमूलं न मुञ्चति. He will never ever leave. Just like a traveler, he is tired after so much of time. Once he comes home, he feel rested at home. Likewise, Daudatma Purusha Krishna Padamulam Namunchati. So likewise, he comes to the lotus feet of Krishna, he never leaves the lotus feet of Krishna. Okay, so that is, and then further, Sukadeva Goswami saying what happened to after remembering Krishna's lotus feet. Bhaktuho Padu Anusmaran, after remembering lotus feet of Krishna, what happened to Uddhava? So here he says that as soon as he remembers, he immediately absorbed himself into deep meditation by his devotional service for a muhurta time. Samuhurtam abhuttoshnim krishnangri sudaya brusham tivrena bhakti yogena nimagnaha sadhu nirvritaha. Samuhurtam abhuttoshnim. So Uddhava, for a moment, muhurtam, for a moment, abhuttoshnim, he became dead silent. Samuhurtam abhuttoshnim. Krishnangri Sudaya Bhusham, and as soon as Krishnangri, the lotus feet of the Lord, Sudaya, by the nectar of remembering the lotus feet of Krishna, it is our, that's why Krishna always, Pradarshyantam Krupaya Nakendu Mayoka Bhinnanguli Charu Patram, Lord always shows his lotus feet to always tinged with the tulsi leaves. Pradarshyantam Krupaya Nakendu, with so much of mercy, he always shows lotus feet. It is only our task to surrender to that lotus feet. And Krishnangri Sudaya Bhusham, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, and how he is remembering Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, Uddhava. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. So here Bhusham well matured by very strong devotional service. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. This is Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Nimagnaha Sadhu Nirvritaha, and he absorbed. And Sadhu is good, Nirvritaha, full in love. Likewise, Uddhava's position now. He is deeply absorbed in his devotional service, remembering all his pastimes, how he rendered Saparyam Balalelaya, how he rendered service to the Lord. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. That's why one has to come to Kshemaya Padamulam me Pravishanti Akuto Bhayam. One has to go to the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna for the Akuto Bhayam. Pravishanti Akuto Bhayam. to free himself from all kinds of fears. So here now, this is the anxiety position of Uddhava here. Samuhurtam abhutosnim krishnangri sudayabhusham tivrena bhakti yogena nimagnaha sadhu nivritaha. The translation for this verse. For a moment, he remained dead silent, and his body did not move. He became absorbed in the nectar of remembering the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy. And he appeared to be going increasingly deeper into that ecstasy. He appeared to be going increasingly deeper into ecstasy. Very beautiful. And purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So on the inquiry by Vidura about Krishna, Uddhava appeared to be awakened from slumber. He appeared to regret that he had forgotten the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus, he again remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and remembered all his transcendental loving service unto him. And by so doing, he felt the same ecstasy that he used to feel in the presence of the Lord. Because the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his remembrance and his personal presence. Thus, Uddhava remained completely silent for a moment, but then he appeared to be going deeper and deeper into ecstasy. And feelings of ecstasy are displayed by highly advanced devotees of the Lord. There are 8 kinds of transcendental changes in the body: tears, shivering of the body, perspiration, restlessness, throbbing, choking of the throat, etc. And all were manifested by Uddhava in the presence of Vidura. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is the ecstatic moment of the devotees. Evam supriya nama kirtya jatanurago drusachitta uchchaihi hasati ato roditi rauti udmadava duluchyati lokabhyaha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was exhibiting such kind of symptoms, he was asking his spiritual master Ishwarapuri, and Ishwarapuri was mentioning this particular verse. Evam supriya nama kirtya jatanurago drusachitta uchchaihi. Jatanurago, by deep love, Jatanurago Drusachitta Uchchaihi, when you have got so much of love for Krishna, immediately Hasati Ato Roditi Rauti Udmadavat Nutyati Lokabhahiha. So without considering the world, material world, one can exhibit all these feelings. Hasati Roditi Rauti Udmadavat Nutyati Lokabhahiha, just like a madman. So these feelings will automatically happen. That is, but here, those Prabhupada is mentioning the tears, this is outkancha. Evam haro bhagavati pratilabdha bhavo outkancha bhashpakalaya. So this is muhurjhamanaha, again and again remembering the Lord. Bhaktya dharva hridaya utpulakah pramodhat outkancha bhashpakalaya muhurjhamanaha tachapi chitta badisham senakaihi viyungte. So this is automatically evam haro bhagavati pratilabdha bhavo bhaktya dharva hridaya utpulakah pramoda outkancha bhashpakalaya muhrujhamanaha tachapi chitta badisham senakaihi viyungte. So he just outkancha bhashpakalaya muhrujhaman, again and again he cries for the Lord. When bhaktya dharva hridaya utpulakah pramoda, his heart is melting. Evam haro bhagavati pratilabdha bhavo. When he is deeply absorbed in the devotional service, he cries, keeping tears, why I am here in this position all the time, just spending time for the material things, mundane things. Likewise, why I have forgotten this many number of years. Like that, there is again one song as well, a very beautiful song as well. Our acharyas have given that song. Okay. Bifale Hari. So that song is going on. So here, Prabhupada is explaining about the on the inquiry by Vidura about Krishna, Uddhava appeared to be awakened from the slumber. So by the time he appeared to regret that he has forgotten the lotus feet of the Lord in such a, even for a devotee, for a moment of time, it appears like a yuga period. Yugaitam nimeshena chakshe pravrushaitam So Chaitanya Mahasikshashtakam. So that is what devotee, he doesn't want to forget Krishna even for a moment, all the time. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmaridyacha. As it is, Krishna said, he follows those instructions. Thus he again remembered the lotus feet of Lord and remembered all the transcendental loving service unto him. So by doing that, he felt the same ecstasy that he used to feel in the presence of the Lord. It is eternal. So there is no difference between his remembrance and his personal presence. The Lord is always with us. As soon as we see, when we are chanting, especially in the mornings in the japa sessions, we see the deities, the beautiful forms in the Mangalarati time, in the Darshanarati time, in the Bhogarati time. Then the beauty of the Krishna is immeasurable. Beauty of Radharani is immeasurable. So in such a way one can deeply absorb. So likewise, when he appeared, then he appeared to going deeper and deeper into ecstasy. Deeper and deeper into ecstasy. That is how it happens to the devotees. So feelings of ecstasy are displayed by highly advanced devotees of the Lord. So likewise, Prabhupada is explaining and those symptoms here. So this is very beautiful purports, and Sukadeva Goswami is Sukumukha Drava Samvitam. Very beautifully, Sukadeva Goswami is giving that nectar to all of us. Likewise, we stop here, and also there is further symptoms of Uddhava, but these are the 4 verses to be covered today. And I also request dear devotees, if you have got any additions or any questions, anything you wanted to add, kindly add. Hare Krishna. Any corrections, please kindly do so.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupaji. Thank you for such a beautiful and blissful class. So much information. Really nice, wonderful service. Thank you so much for your time. I have 3 questions. I'm so sorry, but I just wanted to ask you. The first question is the reason that Uddhavji loves Lord Krishna so much because he had his personal association? Second question is not to imitate, but can an ordinary being like myself love Krishna as much as Uddhavji? And third question is, if so, what is the method of loving Krishna so much?
Thank you so much, Mataji. It is a beautiful question. The first question is, Uddhava, he is accompanied Krishna in all the places as a minister, and wherever he is there, so Uddhava is next to Krishna. Uddhava Satchikashaiva Vyajane Paramadbhute Vikiryamanah Kusumaihi. So whenever Krishna was coming, Uddhava was next coming from Hastinapura to Dwaraka after Kurukshetra battle. One side Uddhava, one side Satyaki, always there. And beginning of Krishna's pastimes in the Madhura, Krishna asks Uddhava, what should we do? So Uddhava knows everything. Likewise, he is accompanying. So at the end of Krishna's winding up his pastimes, he mentioned to Uddhava, Natatami Pritama Atmayonihi na Sankaraha, Natasankashano na Shrihi na Evatma cha Yata Bhavan. Oh Uddhava, I like you so much, more than Brahma, Shiva, Sankashana, Lakshmi Devi, and even more than myself. That much I love you. I like you, oh Uddhava. Likewise, that is the position of Uddhava. He is the elevate all the time. He is with Krishna. And how to remember? Is it possible to have another question? To have the Uddhava's love to Krishna? Is it possible for me to have? Yes, we have equally. We have got equal opportunity. So Krishna gives the same opportunity to all the devotees, but the devotees, not to the any other people. Lord can give mukti dadati karichit smana bhakti yogam. The Lord will give mukti to anyone, but na bhakti yogam smana bhakti yogam. He does not give bhakti that much easily. But for that, this is easy process. We have got Krishna's deities and the other Rani deities in our home. Always render service, like changing the dress, feeding the deities on time, and waking up early morning and doing all kinds of activity. We will become Uddhava only. And Lord would say like the same statement, Natatami Pritama Atmo Yonihi, nothing Karaha, Natankashino, Nashrihi, Na Evatma Yata Bhavan, because you have absorbed in such a way. That is the process. Have the deities and serve the deities in all kinds of ways, like offering bhoga, making deities to sleep, waking them. Likewise, there are so many beautifully devotees are there, mold their activities like that in day-to-day life. It is possible. And always hearing the Lord about the Lord from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavan Shabda Gocharaha. This is what Jaya Tapu Uchyate. This is austerity of the speech by reciting the verses. While reciting Bhagavan Shabda Gocharaha, he is revealed in your heart. Hridiyachan me senir harihi. He will be situated in your heart. So that way you do not feel separation from the Lord at any point of time. Though you are working somewhere outside in the mundane world, you are never separated. All the time you are remembering Krishna constantly. We can achieve the same position as Uddhava.
Thank you so much. That's very nice of you. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Amogha Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. I'm Grace to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. What my realization after after listening to your class is just, Uddhava couldn't express himself so much without Vidura being there, because Vidura is such a wonderful devotee. So have the presence of Vidura, it reminded to help Uddhava to think about Krishna more, because only devotees association can help us to be in that emotion, because you can't show your emotion to anybody just like that. So actually it was very helpful to Uddhava that he could express and he could feel the separation of Krishna so much. And that's why he was keeping quiet. He couldn't, at the beginning, when Vidura started asking the question, at the beginning, he couldn't say anything. But just because, because of Vidura started asking question, that helped Uddhava a lot to express his feeling about Krishna. And that's why Srila Prabhupada could write elaborately so much, so much in the Purport to give us the understanding also, how we can develop also the love. And if we really are sincere, I'm sure Krishna will reciprocate, but with the love of Krishna. It's just because we are so much engrossed in our material thinking, but by chanting Srila Prabhupada's mercy, Guru Maharaj's mercy, if we all really practice very, seriously, I'm sure Krishna, he will feel Krishna's reciprocation. That's what I would just thought. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Beautifully explained. Devotees Association.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Any other questions or sharings, dear devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I couldn't understand why Vidura is asking Uddhava this question, because I thought they were both knowledgeable about Krishna and both equal devotees, equal power.
Yes.
Same level, no?
Yes, Mataji. So both are devotees. Here, Uddhava is always accompanying Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, directly. Whereas Vidura, he was assisting Dhritarashtra and in maintaining this country, kingdom. So that's why, because of that, he wanted to purify himself before going to meet Krishna and knowing about Krishna. So he was on the pilgrimage, and after pilgrimage, he come and meet Uddhava, and he wanted to know about Krishna.
Okay. So how? Why would Uddhava be in a mood of anxiety? Because he was so learned in Krishna's, personality, and he knew about all this, Krishna's existence, and he was serving him so closely. He was very, what is that, an anxiety of?
It is the love.
It's the love
Anxiety is
part.
the love.
Yeah. That's what I was questioning, because anxiety is used generally as a bit of getting into a difficult stage where you freeze in a way, and you're not able to speak. But he had to think about it and compose himself, I suppose, because he, in a way, he had the confidential knowledge, perhaps.
Yes, Mataji. So this is with the love, outkantya with the love.
Yeah.
Nirundan Udghat Bhashpam, outkantya Devaki Sute. So even crying, outkantya Devaki Sute. Remembering the Lord, everyone cries. Wherever Krishna is there, the tears will come. From the either gopis or devotees, anyone remembering with the outkantya. Outkantya bhashpakalaya muhurajyamanaha tachapchitta badisham sanakaihi viyungte. One gradually get that path, the spiritual path, remembering Krishna. Remembrance of Krishna. This chapter name is Remembrance of Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay, can I just add a few words there, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
So Mataji, our philosophy is that the more qualified a devotee is, the less qualified he feels he is in his devotion. So even though Vidura is Dharmaraj, he still feels disqualified. So that is a mood of most devotees. Even the gopis in the Gopi Geet feel they are disqualified. They feel their love is not enough. Feel that the trees and all the other animals and the entities in Vrindavan are more qualified than they, because they get Krishna's association, even though they are the highest. Even Uddhava, who is such a elevated devotee, when he goes to Vrindavan, realizes he is so insignificant next to the gopis. He then wishes to become a blade of grass so that he can be trampled by them and receive their blessing. So it is our Vaishnava philosophy for us to feel disqualified in actually understanding and loving Krishna. No matter where you are, actually we feel not qualified. So that I hope that helps you understand why.
Very, very nicely put. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, because if you are a true devotee and you're following Krishna's footsteps and Prabhupada's footsteps, you're meant to be very humble, aren't you? So you're not saying, I'm well elevated and I've got all the knowledge and here I am, come let me tell you.
Yeah. And it's not just false humility, it's true humility. They actually believe, these elevated souls actually truly believe in their heart they're not qualified, even though they are the most qualified. So it's not, like I do, there's lots of false humility, we're not qualified, where we say it for the sake of saying it to make it sound good, but actually these souls are truly believing it that way. So it's a different level of love and prem that
absolutely, yes, it's a deep sincerity of love for Krishna, and when you're in that position, you get big-headed and puffed up. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. Is beautiful. Yeah, but you're always willing to learn more and more, because it's the sweetness of Krishna, and you in that position, he's in a mood that is so I would say humility there, yeah, as well as what you
I think our parampara says that humility is the ornament of the devotee. Without humility, one cannot progress. Sincerity and humility, without those two, one cannot progress in devotional life. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Sorry for taking up so much time.
No, Prabhu is good because you don't often say, but when you say, it's very, very helpful. Thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Okay, so now we have 6 minutes past 9 o'clock. We are a few minutes away. Dear devotees, anything else, or we shall conclude our session for tonight? Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Kripasindhubhyascha
Pradhanam
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class.
Krishna. Thank you,
Yay.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Nita,
Hare
everyone.
Thank you for the beautiful class.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.